away, right? You need an element of surprise. So I think we should play a game.
A game?
Yes, a game. Of course. We can think of 3 words that can describe every single topic we're going to go through today. In this way, we keep the suspense and the topics are etched in our people's brains.
Oh, fabulous, Amna. Shall I start then?
Go right ahead, Megan.
Well, our What Works topic is the amazing, fast approaching Expo 2020 Dubai. So, I think I will start with the word opportunity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
And I would like to think of the word mobility.
And I would conclude with sustainability.
All right, perfect. So we have opportunity, mobility, and sustainability. And these are the 3 sub-themes of Expo 2020 Dubai and exactly what our friends are going to discover throughout the day. All right, there's supposed to be a dance now. They're going to come in. All right, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble! Come on, everybody! Clap your hands! Oh, you're looking good! Let's sing our song! It won't take long!
Follow me, alright? Let's go vision, clockwise. Straight. Come on, everyone, follow me. Now the other way around, counterclockwise. Good. Now your shoulder, stay. Forward. Good. Come on. Good. Now back. Go. Good. Nice. Now your hips. I want you to move your hips. Loosen your joints. Come on. Move. Good. Come on, everyone. Don't be shy. Move your hips. Other way around. Come on. That's it. Move your hips. I see you, Adi. You're moving your hips. Good. Okay, now I want you to touch your knees. And rotate. Come on. There you go. Good. Come on, everyone. Move your knees. Good. Now the other way around. Good. Now, the ankles. Point your ankles forward. And rotate. Good. Relax movement. I promise. Last. Okay, now the other way. Alright, now one last movement. Let's do squats. Arms forward. Now squat. There you go. Squat. That's it. That's it. Good. Few more. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Leo. Big round of applause for our own fitness junkie, Leo. Thank you for getting us ready for the day. I'm extremely pumped.
Oh,
Are you?
Amna, I'm so pumped.
Good,
And
fantastic.
I don't know even what to say. Like, what else can we tell our friends more, Amna?
We must not forget about the Expo School program that's going to be featured here today. And I'm wondering, what words could we use to describe this?
I would say relevant, engaging, and workshops. And without any further ado, I would like to welcome to the stage our first presenter of today's event, What Works, our Journey to Expo 2020 Dubai. And it gives us a great pleasure to welcome to the stage Alia Al-Ali, Director of Expo School Program in the Legacy Department of Expo 2020 Dubai. So, to give us her speech today, welcome Alia to the stage.
Big round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be with you this morning. It's not working? Sorry. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. I would like to take this opportunity to thank KHDA for dedicating another What Works session to Expo 2020 Dubai. I would also like to thank all of you here for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here today. We're extremely grateful to the entire school community for the extensive support you have provided Expo 2020 Dubai. Involving the school community has always been at the heart of Expo 2020. Hence, we established an entire department called the Expo School Program. The program started in December 2016 with only 2 members, myself included. And many of you have been with us since those early days. What a great journey it has been. We've listened to you and learned from you, and worked hard to translate that into the journeys and initiatives that we've created for your schools. Since then, we have visited many schools, both public and private, across the UAE. We welcomed students and teachers to the Expo 2020 site, engaging with more than 50,000 students, teachers, and educators. With less than 2 years to go before our doors open at Expo 2020 Dubai. Yes, 2 years to go. As I was reading this yesterday, I was like, less than 2 years to go, and my colleague said, yes, less than 2 years to go. Today is a good moment to reflect on what Expo means for our nation, especially for our students. The youth of this nation continue to be very much part of our journey and very much part of our story. Hosting a World Expo presents us with an immense opportunity as a nation to reinforce and build on our position as the dynamic hub of innovation, creativity, and aspirations. Ensuring that our students take full advantage of Expo 2020 is critical to the success of our World Expo and for the continued prosperity of our nation. And the golden thread that runs through all of this is the role of teachers. We in the UAE are very fortunate to have among the finest, most dedicated, and most passionate educators. At Expo 2020, we believe educators are pillars of our communities. You nurture the next generation of thought leaders and boundary breakers, inspiring them to dream of a better tomorrow, to create a brighter future. Expo 2020 is a platform to explore opportunities and solutions, to discover new technologies, and most importantly, to inspire our youth to fulfill their own individual potential through meaningful and fun experiences. You as educators are at the core of these efforts. In order for us to deliver on this mission, the Expo School Program created several initiatives through which your schools can be involved. One of them is our new visitor center. So far, we've received more than 900 students to the visitor center, which we've just opened around a month ago. We also have a set of online learning resources to be used in your classrooms. We have teacher workshops. We've got the Expo 2020 Champions program, and also our newly launched website. Indeed, all of those initiatives and those details can be found on our website at schools.expo2020dubai.com, where all of you can sign up to participate and you can stay updated through this website. And our efforts to achieve our mission, they don't stop here. We're also designing meaningful journeys and safe, seamless visits for your students during the 6 months of the Expo. This includes working with several departments at Expo, like guest services, catering, ticketing, to make sure that we really have a robust plan when we receive your students during the 6 months of the Expo, to make sure that the content and the experiences that they are going to see are going to be meaningful and relevant, to make sure that their journeys are going to be seamless and safe as well. We're in the process of designing those journeys. We've revealed one of our journeys, which is the sustainability journey, which is also very exciting and very close to our hearts as well. We've revealed the details of this journey at our forum, which we held last month, the Expo School Leaders Forum. So Expo 2020 is a platform of knowledge that is waiting to be discovered and explored by your students, the leaders of tomorrow. I would like to close today by once again welcoming you and your school to join Expo 2020 and to be part of this exciting journey. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much, Alia. That was extremely insightful. And honestly, I'm speaking as an Emirati youth. Are we a part of the youth now, Metha? I think.
Yes, we are still.
Yeah, okay, we're a part of the youth, yes? So as an Emirati youth, it really makes us proud to see us going into the future with you guys. Thank you so much. Give her a big round of applause.
And
Now-
okay.
Tell me, what would you like our friends to know about the rest of the day?
So I would like now to shed the lights on the National Festival of Tolerance in the UAE. And this is, of course, important to all of us here.
Yes.
So let's get ready to our next surprise.
Welcome to the Russian School, Dubai.
прийшов, тебе нема. Підманула, підвела, ти ж мене підманула, ти ж мене підвела, ти ж мене молодого з морозом звела, ти ж мене підманула, ти ж мене підвела, ти ж мене молодого з морозом звела. Ти ж казала у вівторок, поцілуєш разів 40, я прийшов, тебе нема, підманула, підвела, ти ж мене підманула, ти ж мене підвела, ти ж мене молодого з морозом звела, ти ж мене підманула, ти ж мене підвела, ти ж мене молодого з морозом звела. Ти ж казала у середу, підем разом по череду, я прийшов, тебе нема, підманула, підвела, ти ж мене підманула, в тебе мати така була, і сестра така була, підманула, підвела, ти ж мене підманула, в тебе мати така була, і сестра така була, підманула, підвела.
Как-то летом на рассвете заглянул в соседний сад. Там смуглянка, молдаванка собирает виноград. Я краснею, я бледнею, захотелось вдруг сказать: встань над рекою, зорьки летние встречать. Раз, кудрявый, клен зеленый, страстной, я влюбленный и смущенный пред тобой. Клен зеленый, да клен кудрявый, да раскудрявый зой. Раскудрявый, клен зеленый, страстной, я влюбленный и смущенный пред тобой. Клен зеленый, да клен кудрявый, да раскудрявый весной.
Good. What an awesome performance. Thank you, the Russian School of Dubai. Give them a huge round of applause. It took every inkling in my body to not start dancing with them, I must admit.
Yes, I agree with you, Amna. But I think, Amna, you forgot to mention the 3 words that would describe that topic.
Yeah, I completely forgot. I think I would go for foundation. I would go for nurture. And obviously, diversity.
I agree with you, Amna. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else do we have in our list for today?
We're almost at the end, but there's one more very special guest that we need to welcome here on the stage.
Yeah, yes, I remembered. And this is very easy for me. The perfect words I would say that would describe this topic are unity, connection, and images.
Images, that makes complete and utter sense. Yes, yes, yes. Now let me welcome to the stage our second presenter, having visited 195 countries. He aims to convey the message of unity and the connection between people all around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Dron Swolves, sorry if I said the name in a wrong way, photographer from Streets of the World. Welcome, Dron.
De Nederlandse fotograaf Jeroen Swolfs bezocht in 7 jaar 200 landen.
Ik zou het nooit nog een keer doen. Nooit.
Om in iedere hoofdstad 1 foto te maken.
None of the photos in the project has been manipulated in any way.
De wereld gevangen in 200 foto's.
Als je op deze manier gaat kijken, dan kom je dus een hele bijzondere verhalen tegen.
Explorer presenteert een uniek tijdsportret.
Mensen die totaal anders zijn dan je dacht, maar ook veel meer zijn zoals je zelf bent.
Streets of the World. Zondag 22 mei, National Geographic Channel.
It was a cold, gray winter afternoon, and snow started to fall from the sky. And I walked to the shed, and I got my sledge. And at the end of the garden, my best friend, Stephanie, was waiting. And I walked up to her, and I said, Stephanie, you and I are going on a new adventure. You and I are going to find a magical city, Paris. Stephanie got on the sledge, and I started pulling her through the thick snow. But after a while, she said, Jeroen, it's getting dark, and I have to return home. So I had a choice to make, to go home with her or to continue by myself. And I chose to go home by myself. And unfortunately, after not so long, I was picked up by the police. They put me into their police car with the sirens on, and they dropped me in front of our house, where in the doorway my mother was waiting for me, and she ran towards me, grabbed me by the shoulder, shook me and said, Jeroen, will you never do this again? Which is not so strange, because this was in 1979, and I was only 5 years old. So already quite the adventurer at a young age, and after many adventures I decided to become a photojournalist. And I started working on photo desks of the newspapers in Holland. And I found out that a lot of emphasis in the news worldwide is on negative stories, especially today online as well. And I thought somehow, because of all my travels through the world before, that it was time for a project that was a bit more about positivity and about connection, about the things that we share as human beings, the things that we do the same. So I came up with the idea for the Streets of the World project. And what I thought would be a good idea was to travel to photograph humanity. Obviously, photographing humanity is quite an ambitious goal. So I thought maybe make it a little bit easier. Let's travel to all the capitals of the world and photograph daily street life. So that's what I did. And I want to tell you a little bit about what I went out to photograph. I wanted to photograph to all these capitals to see the things people do together. And these are very basic things, the things we do the same. So I went out to travel to look for themes like friendship and love and people with their children, people working together. And also in the more difficult countries that I visited, I was looking for hope and brotherhood and perseverance. But I also had to come up with a technical approach of this project. So I started thinking about how should I take these photographs, and I decided I want to take all the photographs exactly at the same way. So I always, for each photo, use the same lens, which means the same angle, basically. I always use the same point of view, so I always took my camera and looked straight ahead in the street, the way everybody would perceive the street. And also the same depth of field, which means all my photos, everything is in focus. And also the photos are all in color to see the details in these streets. So I kept doing this from the first photo till the last one, 195. And it results in a line that goes all the way through the project of the horizon, which is exactly at the same height in each photo. Therefore, I basically made like a really long photo of the world. Also has the same amount of sky in it, as you can see behind me, which is the sky that we all share together, that we live under, and that we also have to protect together. These are the capitals that I visited, takes 10 seconds in this map, but it took me 7 years to travel to all these capitals and photograph them, all the way into the Pacific. But mostly, of course, Streets of the World is a project about traveling and about adventure. So I want to take you on a trip around the world. It's only a short trip today, 4 countries that I want to tell you a bit more about. And I wanted to start by, and this is a question for you guys, has anybody ever heard, please let me see some hands, of the elusive country Tuvalu? Anybody ever heard of Tuvalu? There's one person over there, I'm not surprised. And Stephanie. So yeah, not very famous place, but it's special. And I wrote a book about this trip. And I want to read you a short story about what life is like in Tuvalu. And it looks a little bit like this. When the sun pales at the end of the tropical day, the population awakens from its daily hibernation. Slowly but surely, you hear them stir. First come the children's voices. The kids are eager to cross the grassy verges on either side of the landing strip and begin their daily ball games. There are, of course, various groups based on age. Before long, the strip has become a gymnasium floor crowded with kicked and thrown balls. As the sky's color deepens to orange, the grown-ups arrive. Teams are picked and they start playing their local variety of cricket. The grass beside the asphalt is ideal for this purpose. A little further along, a group of boys is doing a warm-up for rugby practice and running tactical drills, followed by a rough and tumble scrimmage on the asphalt. Here and there, a rocketing ball scares off a dog or knocks a child from his bike, which results in much wailing. Women in colorful outfits stroll along the white stripes in the middle of the landing strip, their bare feet streaked with the black traces of burned rubber from the aircraft's tires. They walk to the end of the strip or the beginning, depending on the direction of the wind. At one end, volleyball nets are strung from iron poles mounted on old truck tires. One net for the women's team and one net for the men. Behind it, past the beginning of the strip, is a large grassy area also used for rugby practice. Kids in go-karts cross between the nets, chased by packs of whining dogs. An escaped pig is trailed by its negligent owner. When you look around the strip at 5:30 in the evening, you see a scene that reminds you, more than anything else, of the activity of a sports field of a school. Tuvalu is a close-knit community. You see that on the strip. The residents are worried about the damage the world's larger nations are inflicting on the climate. They themselves produce no carbon dioxide whatsoever, but they will pay the price for the rest of the world's consumption. So Tuvalu is actually one of the countries, because it's a country, officially, in the Pacific that will probably disappear underneath the rising sea level. So this story is also about one of the themes of the Expo, and I hope that together we can find ways to prevent this. The next country that I wanted to take you to, who has ever heard of Yangon? Fingers? Capital of which country? Myanmar, that's right. So I have a short video to show you a little bit more about the process and how it actually works for me going to a capital and then trying to find the right place and take a good photo.
Beautiful light. It's 6:15 in the morning. Always a nice time. Foto's. Fotojournalistiek, dan wordt niet geregisseerd. Want het gaat mij om laten zien hoe mensen echt op die plek leven en wat ze aan het doen zijn.
If you take a portrait, you know, it's like it's one person and you can say, okay, light, I want a light like this, I want this composition. But this is more like documentary or photojournalism, and like everything's moving really fast, you know. So it's really, really hard to get it right. But when you do, it's you get a really good shot. So it's usually a lot of waiting, you know, just for the right moment where everything kind of is in the right place, and then that, you know, that like microsecond is that's kind of the magic of photography, you know, when you get it right, a split second, when everything is just perfect. That's like the gift. It's a guy with a couple of parrots in a cage. That's the kind of stuff you wait for, but I don't think I got it.
Eerst vind ik dan die plek waar in ieder geval de compositie klopt. En ook het licht, maar goed, het is daglicht, dus dat verandert toch de hele dag. Maar het gaat eigenlijk om kijken wat gebeurt er dan op die plek. En dat test ik dan, dus dan maak ik een paar proeffoto's. En je kijkt een beetje wat er gebeurt, zeg maar, tijdens zo'n dag. Zoals voor mij is het ook weer een verrassing welk verhaal of welk thema op die plek uiteindelijk de boventoon gaat voeren. Een totale verrassing voor mijzelf ook soms.
Actually, it's quite good here. A lot of action. And this boat's nice. Well, it's nice. I mean, that boat is the opposite of these boats, you know? Big money. So, and there's like all sorts of people carrying stuff, you know, and jumping off and on the boats. It's nice. I even have a chair. It's just quite comfortable.
Dan moet je dus niet gaan denken dat het dan wordt zoals je het wil. Dus eigenlijk gaat het eigenlijk vrijwel altijd mis.
Dan denk je van, dan komt er hier even zo'n dude voorbij die het hele beeld blokkeert. Als het echt druk wordt, dan klopt het ineens. Dit gaat wel worden. Christ, die kaart maar aan. Nee. I think I got it, yeah. It's a really beautiful shot with like the backlight and a lovely girl with very long hair. Like the sun, all the stuff going on. It's really good. She was standing right here, which made it perfect.
Yeah, so that was the story of one photo. Imagine taking 195, that's why it took 7 years. Who has ever heard of Tbilisi? A couple of people in the room. Okay, well, it's the capital of Georgia, and also one of the themes in the project is animals around the world. And I traveled to Tbilisi, and I was walking around the city, but I couldn't really find a nice place. And I stumbled upon this zoo. It's like a city zoo. And I really liked it. And I walked in, and the first animal I bumped into was a penguin. And penguins are actually one of my favorite animals because they're funny, right? So I thought it would be really nice to photograph the penguin and also the kids. But it was a difficult shot because I had to basically push my camera against the glass of the aquarium to get this angle, and I had to wait for the kids, and then the kids would be there, but there wouldn't be a penguin because penguins, they were really fast swimmers. So it looks like in the photo it's just hovering there, but it's like 40 kilometers an hour inside the tank, right? And the kids would be there, and the penguins would be chilling out on the little beach ahead, you know. And if there was a penguin, kids wouldn't be there. And I had to press this camera against the glass, and because the camera isn't really straight at the edge, but it's a bit round, you know, somehow I couldn't get the right shot. So I took this photo. But it wasn't really straight, and I just explained to you guys about the horizon through the whole project. So you have like 195 photos, which is perfect, and then there's one with a horizon like this, right? So I had to take it out. And I thought I will return tomorrow and I will try again. But things happened that night in Tbilisi, which were very unexpected because it started to rain really, really hard. A little bit like Dubai last night, but harder. And Tbilisi it's basically at the bottom of a valley, and the zoo was at the lowest point in the valley, and it started raining so hard that a mudslide came down from the mountains, and it wiped away the whole zoo that night. So the next day I returned, there was nothing left. There was 6 meters of mud in the zoo, and animals could escape from their cages, and they were running around Tbilisi the next day. You know, so you had bears running around, you had lions. I'm not kidding you, you can look it up on Google. Still a lot of photos online. There were lions running around. There was a hippo walking around, you know, and they had to dart it with, you know, at a gas station. I had no idea what was happening, and the whole place became like a disaster scene. So I returned to the zoo, and I couldn't get in. And it was like, you know, it was like police and army there, and it was quite scary. And I realized, yesterday I took the last photo of the zoo in Tbilisi. So I looked at it, started looking better, and actually what was funny about it is that what happened during this project the last 7 years is that the whole world has been taken over by mobile phones. Like anywhere you go up into the Himalayas, we're in the desert, we're in Tbilisi, everyone is on their mobile phone all the time. The kids too, so when you look at this photo, you can see parents basically not giving the right example. So all the ladies are on their phones, even one has even 2 phones, one is on the phone. So what the kids do is they of course also start using their phones. So the little girl is taking a photo of the penguin, to look at the penguin back home on the screen instead of like really looking at the penguin when it's like right in front of her. So I thought it was an interesting story. But I had to travel along as always, and I had to go to the next country. But of course I was really worried about this little guy who had become my friends after a couple of days, the penguin. And I thought if there's any animal that can survive a mudslide, it's a penguin, right? So I kept reading the newspapers, and a couple of days later I bumped into a message in the paper, and it was about this penguin. It had been found 600 kilometers downstream, swimming in the river at the border with Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan and Georgia aren't like really best friends, so the penguin couldn't cross the border, and it was like fished out of the water with a net, and I put it in the zoo, in the new zoo. But in the end, this penguin still could enjoy 6 days of freedom. Another photo about an animal. Who knows the capital of Italy? Right? A bit more than Tuvalu, I'm sure. Sometimes I'm just waiting, and I never really know what's going to happen before I start. Because you never really know what people are going to do, and they do some funny stuff. And the same thing happened here in Rome. It was really warm. Well, not for you guys, but for a European, for a Dutchman like me, it was like 32 degrees, really hot. And I was waiting, and then a guy biked up. He was on a bicycle, and he biked up, and he just put down the bike, and he had something on his shoulder. It's like a bag or something. I couldn't really see what it was. And he walked up to the little fountain, and he got this thing off his shoulder, and he just walked towards it, and he just threw the thing into the fountain. And there was like a lot of noise and splashing and screaming. I had no idea what was happening. And he picked it out again, walked towards me, and just right in front of my feet, he set down this wet cat. He just thrown in this cat into the fountain. I thought it was a Chihuahua too. It was really a cat, and it's on a leash. And he just sat down there and started reading the newspaper. I didn't take any photos of this because I was stunned by what was happening. It's because of the cat that I have this photo, because obviously the cat was not amused about being thrown in the water, because cats and water are not the best combination, right? So the cat, towards me, was going like, you can see him do it, right? This is when I realized maybe this is a good moment to take a photo. So I took the photo. And back in the day, there was a thing called Facebook, right? And it was really cool to be on Facebook. And I managed to get 15,000 followers by the time. And I posted this photo online to share with my followers. And they said, people from Rome, they said, it was really nice you were here, a nice photo, and also really cool that you photographed the guy with the cat. Oh, a guy with a cat. Yeah, he's really famous. You should look him up on Facebook. So I'm like, okay. Guy with cat, Rome, boom, there he was. Guy with the cat, 50,000 followers, right? So I'm like, okay, so if you really want to get more followers, which is basically what life is all about today, it's probably better to throw in your pet into a fountain every day than to travel to 195 capitals. I thought this project would never end. And after 7 years and every week going to a different country, I suddenly ran out of countries. So I thought, well, then I must be finished with this project. And we made a really big book, which was lovely, of course, and I'm proud of it. But it became such a positive story in the project that I thought, isn't there a better way to share this? But I couldn't really figure it out. And I was approached by a guy in Amsterdam, and we have this area in Amsterdam which doesn't really have the best reputation. But there's a lot of people living there from different nationalities, a little bit like Dubai. And he said, Jeroen, why don't you come over to this part of town and show the world to all these people? They can travel a lot and it will be really nice. So we did it. And he said, I have this really dirty, smelly, lousy parking garage for you if you want to use it. You know, so I'm like, okay, great, man, thanks a lot, that's really nice. So we went over to see it, and it was really dirty and smelly, but also it was a very magical place. And we thought, well, if we clean it up properly, then we could actually make something really nice and bring the world to this parking garage. And we started cleaning the place. And people that were living there, they were like, you know, what's going on in our garage, you know? So I remember a guy from Africa walking up to me, and he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, okay, sorry, we're trying to make a museum out of the parking garage over here. And he's like, what kind of museum is this? I'm like, well, it's a museum that has all the capitals in the world. It's really nice. Does it have Accra in it too, my country? I said, yeah, it's in there too. He said, then I will come look. So we already had our first customer. And there were many other people, and they became our volunteers. So actually, this old dirty garage became a place where people were meeting each other and sharing each other's stories. And it was a lovely story, and I have a small video about that too that I wanted to share with you guys.
My name is Jeroen Swolfs. I'm a Dutch photojournalist, and in 2009 I started my project Streets of the World, for which I traveled to all the capitals of the world to photograph daily street life. In 2016, for the first time, we're doing a really big outside exposition of the project in this really cool parking garage.
Ja, ik vind het geweldig.
Tentoonstelling met een internationale allure.
Gaat het wel lukken? Maar toen ik hier kwam, wat er allemaal is om te zien. En kijk, het is een museum geworden. En dat vond ik mooi.
So I don't want it just to be a photo project, I want to create an environment where you actually live the message of the project.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, of course, education as a photojournalist is a very important topic, as it is here at KHDA as well. And we came up, because it was such a comprehensive project and so positive and about the world, with a very cool educational concept, and it's based on something that we call slow looking. Slow looking sounds weird in 2018 because everything is about fast looking, especially with the kids on their phones again, you know, like how much do they really see and how much do they get about context of what they see. And these are the days of fake news, for instance, you know. So what we want to do with the project as well is teach kids, you know, that there's a lot about a photo that you don't know or that you can think about yourself and put into the right context. So this is what we came up with. It's a really nice method. We have more to say about it at our little booth in the next room. Please come over and check it out. But the last thing I wanted to tell you was, why am I here today? Well, because Streets of the World is coming to Dubai. I was at the Rotterdam port last Monday, and there was a very big ship. It looked like this. coming to Dubai. So connection, getting to know each other, I think very important themes of the Expo 2020 as well. It's the theme of Streets of the World. I hope you all have a look at our educational package, but also really come check out the exposition at Alcif in January. And of course, I wanted to thank KHDA very much for today, and in particular Dr. Abdullah, which I'll see later today. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, Jeroen, for taking us into this journey. And now, as we have visited already 4 countries, I would like also to invite you to go to the lobby and look at the amazing pictures and photographs of Jeroen and look at his history that's presented in the lobby area. And now, last but not the least, I would like to introduce and welcome our 3rd speaker of the day, Dr. Abdullah Al-Karam, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Director General of KHDA, to come to the stage and give us his speech. Welcome, Dr. Abdullah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
No.
Yeah, I have a couple of hard acts to follow, but I'll do my best, inshallah, in this one.
How was it? You were
Very
watching,
good.
yeah?
Yeah, it's very good. Somebody speaking to me.
The what?
Yeah, so first I would like to thank Alia from
Last
Expo.
but not least, our last presenter. He is our last presenter.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Don't be pedantic. Don't laugh.
Or
He's
mine's on
a
too.
comedian, isn't he?
We can hear you there. Where's Sarah? We can hear you there. That was funny. Anyway, so thank Alia and also thank the amazing kids from the Russian school for their performance. And again, big thank to Jeroen for sharing, I think, photos, but I think the stories behind the photos, I think everybody's touched. And as I promised you, we're trying to get as many people to come to you in January the 16th, inshallah, on this eve. And again, I would like to welcome everybody for our first What Works of this year. Believe it or not, this is actually our 7th year of What Works. So thanks for everyone and to brought together the 7 years. And also we had about 31 What Works, believe it or not, in those 7 years. There are more than 15,000 people who attended these workshops, so I really thank them for coming. And I thank you for coming today here. This is a special What Works because you've got people from different parts of the community here. We have our friends from Expo. We have our friend Simon from the World Bank. We have others from the private sector. And of course, we have the students, teachers, principals. And actually, we have some of the governors of the school today running a parallel workshop. I want to talk about a concept today that I think has been talked about through the previous presentations. Not that we talked and agreed before, but I think it's coming naturally. And before I do so, I would like to maybe show of hand for those who have heard such a sayings before, such as survival of the fittest. So unlike Jerome, I think I'm going to get a lot of hands today. Eat or to be eaten. Winner takes it all. Everybody said. And last but not least, the law of the jungle. So basically, everybody hurts. A lot of these saying takes their cue from Mother Nature. They tell us that if we want to be successful, then we should be smart. We should be the smartest. We should be the fastest, or we should be the strongest. But I've learned something interesting about Mother Nature recently, and I would like to share with you. And I want you to look at the picture behind me, if it's already there. Oh, yes, it's there. And just for you to reflect on what you see in this picture. Will you see trees, plants, and grasses? But they seem to be separate from one another in this picture. I want you to think about what you cannot see in this picture. What most of us don't see in this picture, that all of these trees and grasses, everything in the picture are actually very well connected. All the science teachers here will know this already. But underground, all of these trees and plants are connected by a type of fungi called mycelium. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And that's a picture of it. Trees and plants of different species constantly send signals to each other through hundreds of thousands of kilometers of myceliums underground. Think of it as the nature on internet, or better yet, the Wood Wide Web. If a small tree isn't getting enough light, it sends a signal to the bigger trees through the mycelium, and the bigger trees then pick up the signal and send chlorophyll back through the mycelium so that the smaller tree can grow. If one plant is being attacked by a parasite, it sends a signal through the mycelium to the other plants, which then increase their defense against the parasite. These connections are crucial if the forest is to survive and, most importantly, to thrive. Maybe there is a different law of the jungle than what we thought. I think our communities also work like this. We are all connected in many different ways, and it is the strength of our connection that determines how will we survive and how will we thrive. We have been talking about the importance of well-being in education for some time now. We do this because well-being is not only important in education, it is important for life. And after we finish our education, well, we still have life to live. Last year, we started our first well-being census in Dubai to measure the well-being of the students and to give the school all the data they can use to improve the well-being. The second year of the well-being census has just started. And we learned last year that well-being of students depends on the well-being of the community. It depends on those connections that we cannot see. We have stronger sense of well-being if we have positive relationships with each other, if we are able to work for a very common goal. Nature realized this long time ago and created a network in which the tree plants can help each other to survive and thrive. In Dubai, through the Expo 2020 and their work the team is doing in the schools, and through our government focus on well-being and for our community, we are all working to make sure that it's not survival of the fittest, but it is survival of the kindest. And we work very hard that it is not eat or to be eaten, but actually help and be helped. I thank you for giving me this opportunity and I wish you all successful day. Thank you.